A modern day interpretation of Red Riding Hood with Reese Witherspoon. Hi, I'm Wolfman Sam. This is Movies in a Nutshell, and this is Freeway. Spoilers ahead. To start us off, we have Vanessa Luntz, played by Reese Witherspoon. She comes from a very dysfunctional family. Both parents are both drug addicts. And once they're taken away by the police, she literally has nowhere to go. She kind of confides in a social worker that even though her family is estranged, she had heard from her grandma that she has her own that her grandma has her own place. So she has sort of a journey to basically hitchhike to her grandma's house. Hence why I call this a modern interpretation of Little Red Riding Hood with a dark twist. And meanwhile, we have a serial killer in the news that has been killing young girls. This is take place in the South, and Vanessa, armed with a gun that she had gotten from her mother's drawer after tying up the social worker, basically says her final goodbyes to her boyfriend that is in a gang, and he later gets gunned down, unknowing. So she takes her mother's car and hitchhikes, basically. And once it breaks down, she finds a man by the name of Bob, and Bob tries to help her out and befriends her, and they become friends. And we find out that he is a psychiatrist, and Vanessa opens up about her family life and how destructive her family life is, how much of a rapist her stepfather is, and there's a whole thing about her just having dramatic trauma about her stepfather, and the fact that she really wants to get her mother kind of back on track. But then it's revealed that the supposed psychiatrist that has been befriending Miss Lux turns out to be the serial killer. But Vanessa very smartly kind of tricks him and holds him at gunpoint. And what ends up happening is she basically tries to shoot and kill him. And for a while we think that the killer is dead and the day is saved, and Vanessa's off to find her grandma and so on and so forth. But what ends up happening is the psychiatrist is still alive, and he makes his way to a hospital. And it's revealed that because of there's a whole court case, and Vanessa is sent to jail, and because the psychiatrist works with disabled kids, the media does take the side of the psychiatrist, even though we know as the viewer that he is a psychopath. And Vanessa spends time in jail and basically becomes the head honcho because she has this incredible violent tendency with inmates. There's an entire jail fight where Vanessa basically takes the head honcho of the head gang in the prison cell, and they're basically being transferred at one point, and they basically make a run for it. And Vanessa is on the road again, once again looking for grandma. And meanwhile, we have the serial killer psychiatrist kind of finding more and more clues of where Vanessa is going. Vanessa at this point is posing as a hooker, trying to get whatever money or whatever she can, just so she can get a ride to grandma's house in hopes to somehow reunite her family in some twisted way. But then the serial killer finds out where she's going and kind of gets there first, and we get sort of a dark parody of Little Red Riding Hood, where the killer is the wolf in the grandma's clothes. However, Vanessa does kill the serial killer known as Bob the psychiatrist, and it's kind of left open where it's where she just says to one of the the investigators, because she had been kind of tailed by these investigators even when she was in prison. She had kind of said to these investigators very nonchalantly, "Do y'all have a cigarette?" But that's the plot in it. That's the plot in a nutshell. But on to the closing thoughts. I'd like to say the one thing I really do like about this film is the balance of horror and humor. And Reese Witherspoon specifically does that probably the best. She manages to be both funny and kind of twisted. I never thought I'd watch a horror film with Reese Witherspoon, but it's a very twisted, wonderful film. Super super underrated, and with that said, I am Wolfman Sam. This has been Movies in a Nutshell, and I'll see you guys later.